Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing kind of a different video for this channel. It's one that I never thought I would actually do, but it's kind of popular on BookTube. And basically it's these books will self-destruct in 12 months. Basically, if you're not familiar, the premise of this video is I have quite a stack of books here. If I do not read these books within 1 year, I have to unhaul them. Regardless of if I might enjoy them or if I really want to read them, if I do not read these in the year of 2023, I'm shooting this in November, but I'm realistically aiming to get this filmed in January, so I have the whole year to read these. But basically, this whole stack needs to be read within 2023 if they want to stay on my shelf. Now, does that mean if I read these have to stay on my shelf? If I don't like them, absolutely not. I can get rid of them at any time. I can decide early on that I want to get rid of them before I even read them. But I actually have quite a few books, and I could honestly probably add quite a few more to this list just scanning my bookshelves. But I think this is pretty fair for right now, because even looking at these stack of books and looking at my shelves after I had pulled all of these out, I got quite a bit of space. But I do still want to give these books a shot. Obviously, I bought them for a reason, or they were given to me for a reason. I do really want to read these books, so I'm hoping that I get to read them before they self-destruct at the end of 2023. Now, first of all, is a book that I'm really only adding to this list to give myself pressure to read it, because it's been on my shelf for a few years. A few years, I say, as it was only published in 2021. It feels like a few years, doesn't it? Then it kind of does. But okay, so it has been on my shelf for only a year, but the couple times that I went to pick it up, I haven't gotten in farther than the first chapter. So to push myself to read this, I'm putting it on this list, and that is Last Night at the Telegraph Club. So all I know about this is it is a sapphic YA romance set in 1954. And that's all I really want to know about it. That's all I cared to know going in. I am really intrigued to pick this up. You'll notice probably the majority of these are YA, so that's most likely like what is on this list, and that's the only reason this is on this list, because I have gravitated out of YA for quite a while. So this is the push I'm giving myself to pick up the YA on my shelf, including this one. These next two I've actually have had on my shelf for quite a few years. Because they came out way more than last year, way longer than last year. The first one is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is one that was super hyped back on BookTube a long time ago, that I have had on my shelf for a while and have never picked up, and I know Benson really wants to read it, and really that's the only reason I kept it on my shelf. But I do want to pick it up at some point. Otherwise, Benson's never gonna read it, I'm never gonna read it, and it's just gonna sit there collecting dust, and that's not really what I want my shelves, like, that's not really what I want the purpose of my shelves to be. So either this gets read in the next year, or it's gotta go somewhere else. And the next one is the sequel to a book that I read a couple years ago, really loved, but have just never picked up the sequel for. So if I don't this year, I'm never going to, and that is Our Dark Duet. This is the sequel to The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. And like I said, I really enjoyed the first one, but I've tended to, I figured out that I like Victoria Schwab's adult books way more than I like her YA stuff or her middle grade stuff, even though I do like the Cassidy Blake series a lot. So if I don't read it this year, unfortunately, it just has to go, because it's been sitting on my shelf for way too long, and I would like that space to go to books that I'm actually going to read and love and enjoy. This next one, genuinely, I'm not sure why I bought it, because I'm not sure if it's going to be my cup of tea. say that, but I'm probably really going to like it because it's the kind of book that I would probably would really enjoy. I just haven't gravitated towards it at any point this year. But that's By the Book. This one is a relatively newer one. I believe it did come out in 2022. No. I've had this on my shelf longer than I thought. Looks like it came out in 2020 at least. And I must have, well, either way, this came out, or I bought this relatively recently. And I don't know, I just haven't gravitated towards it. This follows our main character, Mary, who pretty much considers herself a relationship expert because she reads all the classics, and she's always giving her friends relationship advice, including to stay away from this one guy who she considers a bad boy and not worth her time. However, the more time she spends with him, the more she starts to realize that maybe she's falling for him. So I'm intrigued by this one. I think it will be really cute, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep this on my shelf past reading it, which is probably why I haven't gravitated towards it in a while, or since I bought it. So we'll see. The next one, so the next 4 technically are all part of the same series. They are books that I really enjoy when I read them, but I don't tend to keep on my shelf. I don't feel like they really add anything to the stories they're retelling, if that makes sense. But that's the Twisted Tale series. I currently have 4 on my shelf, and that is Unbirthday, Part of Your World, Straight On Till Morning, and As Old as Time. So all 4 of these I do want to read because I do enjoy them when I read them, but after the fact, I almost never keep them on my shelves anyway. I just don't feel like they add anything. Like, they're a twist on Disney tales. I just don't feel like they add anything. Like, nothing is added. Nothing's really different by the end of them, at least in the ones that I've read. So I am really excited to read these 4, mainly because 2 out of 4 of them were gifts. So I don't just want to get rid of them without at least giving them a shot. Because some of these, you never know, they might be a new favorite. The next one is one that I am excited for. It's one that I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy, and I bought it because it was it was a really good sale for it. But it's The Darkness Outside Us. All I know is that this follows 2 boys in space, and I'm intrigued. I just have not gravitated towards it. I'm hoping that I can give this a fair shot before taking it off my shelf. This is another one that I am only including on this list to give myself that push, because this is it looks like it's a relatively easy read that I should get through no problem. I just haven't picked it up, and I really need to. So that is Waste of Space. First of all, this is entirely told through mixed media. So there's no way, there's no way that I shouldn't be able to get through this relatively quickly, but it has sat on my shelf for years. And the reason I really want to read this is because this author also wrote one of my favorite cozy YA fantasies, is Wax. And it was just super, I loved that book so much, so I picked this one up knowing that it's the same author, and just haven't touched this one yet. So I'm really intrigued. This follows a reality show set in space, but the more the book goes on, the more we realize that things aren't exactly what they seem, so we have to kind of figure out what's going on and what is actually the truth. So I'm really intrigued to read this. I just need to give myself the kick to do so. Next one is one that has been on my shelf for a while, one that was super hyped, and one whose author I have enjoyed from in the past. I've only read their contemporary book, Felix Ever After. So I'm intrigued to see how I feel about their fantasy. But that is Queen of the Conquered by Casey Calendar. I am intrigued by this. I know this is at least a duology. I do really want to read it. I want to see where it goes. I want to see how much I enjoy it, but I need that kick to be able to pick it up. This one I have tried to read multiple times. It's one that I know I'm going to cry at. It's going to break my heart, and I have not been in the mood for that just yet. But that is Stars in the Blackness Between Us. This follows two young girls from very different parts of the world, and they meet, and basically their love story and their adventure ensues from there. It does say it in the back of the book, but the reason that I know this is going to break my heart is there's some very big health complications that are very apparent very early on in the book. So I get really bad medical anxiety sometimes, so I have no doubt this book is going to be really hard for me to read, as well as very devastating no matter how it ends. It's going to be a very hard read for sure. That's the only reason I haven't picked it up so far. I'm intrigued. I want to read it. I'm hoping to fall in love with it, but we'll see. Next one is one that I started and actually got a decent way through. This is categorized as a romance, but it's more of a romance. Like the romance is kind of the back focus. But that's The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, who discovers that her father has passed away, and now she meets this whole group of people who like claim to be her family, and it's just in the back burner she's got this guy who's her trivia rival, but she realizes there's more to him than she originally thought. So she's got a little bit of a romance brewing on the back burner there, and so I really liked what I read of it. I'm intrigued, and I want to see where it goes. I do really want to finish it before I have to throw it off my shelf. This is one that I bought and I'm really excited for, and once again this is just on this list so I can give myself the kick to finish it. But that is Wench by Maxine Kaplan. I started this. I really liked it. Really liked what I read of it, but I think I originally bought it because it fit Medieval-a-thon really well, which is a readathon inspired by like medieval times. And I wanted to read it during that, but I think the readathon ended before I could finish it, so I just put it down. So I'm hoping this year I will be able to read it Medieval-a-thon or not. Otherwise, it's gotta go. And it makes me really sad because, like, look at that undercover. It's so cute. I love this design choice so much, and it's honestly what made me want to pick it up in the first place. So I cannot wait to read it this year. Lastly is a book series. It's 4 books that I need to read this year because it is a very old and very well-loved series. It's a series that I have read the first book of and just have never finished, and it makes me really sad because I loved the first book so much, and I read the first one and then immediately bought all of the others so that I could try to binge read them. Since then, I've discovered that binge reading might not be for me necessarily, which sucks, but I do really want to finish them this year because they are a well-loved series, and I really loved the first book. But that is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. We got The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, we got, don't ask me to read these in the camera, Dreams of Gods and Monsters, Night of Cake and Puppets, and Days of Blood and Starlight. I loved the first book so much, and then I immediately bought all of the rest of them so I could read them. I'm pretty sure these might be out of order, but anyway, I loved it so much, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. I just need that extra kick so that I can decide whether I should just get these off of my shelf or buy new covers, because these ones are pretty old and dingy and dirty, but I have to make sure that investment is worth it before I do so. those are all of the books that I have to get through. Like I said, I could have added a few more, but I think that is plenty to try to get through the entire month, or entire year of 2023. Hoping to find some new favorites, or maybe get some ones that I'm not so sure about off of my shelf so I can make some more space. Let me know which one of these you think I should prioritize, which one looks the most fun. If you haven't read any of them, let me know that in the comments below too. But until next time, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more from me, as well as Benson, who's a frequent member on this channel. I will leave all of his links down in the description box below, as well as links to my social media if you want to hear any more from me. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.